Welcome to the Beer Can Cold podcast with your hosts Will Merritt and JG Van Gran, a podcast where the suction line is always beer can cold. Take it away, boys.
Thanks, Dougie. All right.
Dougie.
Welcome. You are catching us on the road, well, at least half of us, but we're in the same city. And you know, we couldn't get the schedules lined up enough to even hook up, which is really kind of sad.
I tried to invite you to music bingo tonight, but you refused. So they even tried to invite the poker. They're doing poker tonight. I'm like, I can't do poker on Tuesday night. It's music bingo.
Well, the sad thing is when you're in a class and they give you homework, or actually you had to leave the class early to come do the podcast, so you have to go catch up on the chapters they're finishing so you're up to speed tomorrow. It's kind of where we're at, right? So just want to welcome everybody. What's that?
Where are they teaching it? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, it's at the Train DSO here in Charlotte.
Where is that located now?
It's right by the airport, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I know where it is.
I just drove there and drove back.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is. It's between 85 and 485. Yep, I know exactly where it is.
That's right. So welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Beer Can Cold podcast. This is episode number 5. And can come at a better time. Yes, we're in. Oh, wait. Because I'm at the hotel and because I don't have a company vehicle to drive, there she goes. She blows cold today, boys.
No beer today. The beer seems to be affecting me. I don't know. Like last week, I was like constantly clearing my throat. So we got a little bourbon on the ice ball tonight.
That's nice. I like that. And I'll introduce you in a minute. I haven't forgotten about you, but but you know, we're on the road here in Charlotte. We are here for a class that has actually turned out to be really, really good. We're in the middle of a pending snowstorm, and if you know anything about North Carolina, you know that it's Armageddon. Like literally, there's no bread and milk. Thank God there was beer. You know, this is just what it is, I guess. But what I thought would be cool today, because I actually have a really good story about this. I spoke about him on a podcast, 2 podcasts before, and he's here in the class with me. So I thought we would drag Al Carnes.
No E.
I always say Kearns, and it's bad. So he actually wrote on my whiteboard in my office how to pronounce his name. So invited Al to come sit with us today because today I want to talk about hiring. And I think, you know, it came up in the class today, and I'll set it up in a minute. But, you know, it just, there's so much that goes into hiring. So, Al, take a minute. First, start with your brew of choice.
The apples.
Angry
Only
Orchard.
the apples.
All right. Now introduce yourself.
My name's Al. I'm the Carnes, Karns, no E.
No E.
I'm the service manager here at Board Brothers Heating and Cooling in Chapel Hill. We are currently in Charlotte for training purposes. I've been there since September. When I look back and reflect on who I was walking in the door and who I am now, it's 2 totally different people, and it is really all relative to the training and the information that is really just at my fingertips. Any chance I'd have a question or anything, there's so many different people in that organization itself that have worn many different hats throughout their journey there. And so just being able to go back and rely on those people who, hey, like, you know, you used to do it this way, so-and-so does it this way, what's the best outcome? What's the best thing for the company? And that's what we're going to go do.
Absolutely agree. Just want to mention my brew of choice is a Wake Up Porter, coffee porter. I like them. I like my beer very dark. So, and then Will, you said what are you drinking?
It's Buffalo Trace, just on the rocks.
Nice.
So I'm a bourbon guy. I like beer too, but beer doesn't seem to like me much anymore. So I don't know. It's I'm a Miller Lite guy these days. I used to love the good beers, and they just don't love me anymore. Well, I think it's a product of age. So
beer doesn't like my stomach line, my gut size. So I think we're going to start scaling back a little bit. I need to lose weight. So anyway,
I guess the gluten thing.
Yeah.
The reason I ask about your beer is there's a brewery in Monroe. Can't think of the name of it right now, but they have a cookie dough stout. And it looks like that can. You'd probably like it. It's like 10%.
No.
It's a meal can. And it's good. It's good. They've got and I know we're digressing, but who cares?
Yep.
They've got Neapolitan stout.
Yes.
That looks like the Neapolitan ice cream.
I've had it.
And it's got that little hint of ice cream to it, and it is delicious.
Yeah, I am. Actually, I brew beer, and we brew in the garage all the time. And my favorite beer, and this is one I can brew because I can't find the recipe, is a brewery local to us, which is a 4042. It's like a chocolate stout. But there is a brewery up here in Charlotte that for a couple of Christmases released a German chocolate cake stout. And let me tell you, it was like dessert and happiness all over Christmas in a can. It was the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, but we digress. So the topic today is hiring. And the reason I thought it is a great time to do this is something came up in the class today. And Al, there's a real big story about, I've mentioned in a previous podcast about our decision making and bringing Al on and how great of a success that has been. And I just already know after this I'm not going to be able to cope with him for a couple of hours because his head's going to be so big. But Al's been amazing with the organization that he brought and just the caring and what he does for our service technicians and our dispatchers. So, but what they were talking about in the class today, to me, every time they would address an issue like profitability or anything like that, in my mind, it kept coming back to building the right team and hiring the right people. And then my mind, as it goes, because I look for squirrels all day long, is like, okay, what's the next step, like the hiring process? And I think it's something that we've kind of brought into Bohr Brothers a couple months ago, and it's really starting to pay some dividends because we've hired several people with this process now. And I will tell you that the people, there's one that didn't quite find or make us his home, and that's okay. That's going to happen. But for the most part, I think we've hired. Are we up to 5 now?
Yeah,
5, and
solid.
One person didn't stick around. So I want to get Al's feedback on. I guess, should we explain the process first?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask Were they all 5 from outside the industry, so to speak?
No, but they didn't have a ton of experience within the industry. Okay. So that's something we're going to touch on in a minute. I think
that's something I'm sure we'll touch on, but I think that's a big thing. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I was curious.
Yep.
So the current hiring process, we have Indeed, of course, and then we filter through the resumes and stuff. We bring them in. Whenever I call them and do the phone screening, I'll let them know, hey, please plan to be here for about an hour. When they first come in, we have them do 3 sets of tests. One is a culture quiz that we've created internally based on our core values. The second one will be relative to whichever, if they're going to be kitchen, residential, or a dispatcher. We have different technical tests for that. And
sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Now, let me point out, and we tell everybody when we sit them down, we don't care if you score 0 out of 10 on the technical test. All we're trying to find out is what do you know, right? Because resumes, you can write all kinds of stuff down on a resume. We're just trying to see what do you know. And if you don't know anything, that's okay because that's not what we're judging you on, right? But keep going. We'll get to that.
So we do the culture, the technical, and then we do the DISC assessment. And I reviewed my own DISC assessment once I took mine during the interview process, and I understood it because I understand myself. But then now being on the hiring end of it, reviewing, when I comes to review the first couple DISC I looked at, I was like, oh, this person's awesome. Like, they're going to be a great fit. And then, reached out to JG, and I'm like, hey, can we look over this? Just want to make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. And he's like, hey, you might want to hang on, let me explain this to you. Let's go back to this page here, But it's it really tells you, we've got a dispatcher that we recently hired, and she literally, based off of her DISC assessment, is how we planned her training. And she has just exceeded expectations in every level. So it's working. The proof is in the pudding, so to say.
Well, why don't you guys explain what the DISC profile is? I bet a lot of people don't have any clue what that is. And JG and I, we did that years ago. So why don't you guys explain that just so people understand what you're talking about with DISC?
Yeah, and actually what I'll do is when I edit and put this video together, I will put my DISC assessment, my front page, I'll overlay it over the video so people can kind of see. But DISC stands for, there's 4 different quadrants, and it's not a right or a wrong test. All the test tells us is what is your makeup. Well, how do you make your decisions? How do you learn? How do you manage? How do you get managed? And it's like a 74-page document, and not all of it is worth reading, but we have pages that we highlight. I will say that we have different profiles we're looking for different positions. So, for example, D is a very dominant, and I'm going to mess this up because I always mess it up, but I think D is very dominant. So that's a person that they don't want to hear about your weekend. They want to know what they're doing Monday morning. They want the short version of it. They want to go do their job and be done. Like, they're very driven. And that's sometimes, depending on our culture, the really high Ds doesn't fit in, because none of us in our leadership team, and for the most part, a big part of our company is there's not a lot of really heavy drivers. We're much more into the I's. Now, the I, we have several I's. I's like me. I like to talk. I like to do podcasts. I talk with my hands. I could tell you stories.
Long cut.
Yes, always, right? I have a story for everything. And that's actually, you have to know that about yourself. That's a shortcoming. So I know, like I told Al today, I probably talk too much in the class. I need to shut up. It's like, but that's part of who I am, and a very approachable type of person. And actually, my eye is going down a little bit more because I'm coming to this philosophy that people suck. So, my eye's coming down some. But then the S is more sometimes statistic driven, wants to have data, would like to make decisions with data. And then the C is caution, like a very cautious person that doesn't just jump in, don't just do that type of stuff. So I am a high I, but higher C. So I do like data, and that's changed. Well, I've taken 3 of these assessments. My assessments have changed over the years, and they do. But right now, I'm very data-driven, but I'm a happy-go-lucky guy that would love to tell you about my weekend in Florida. So that's kind of.
I always think I'm kind of a mix of a lot of it. I still have mine from 2002 over here in the filing cabinet.
Yes.
So I have to get that. And I might amuse myself tonight and pull it out and read it.
There's one thing, though. I've told you this. I haven't told you this. That document, when you get it, you lock it in the safe where your wife cannot get a hold of it. Yep. Because once she reads it, she will manipulate that mess. Yeah. I'm telling you, mine read mine and go, this is right. Yeah. And since then, our marriage is a lot better, but she knows like how to get at me sometimes. So
maybe I should hear that. You think she'd figure some things out after almost 23 years. So maybe I should put it under a pillow tonight. How about that? Yeah,
that's right. It's some go-to-bed reading sometimes. But there's 2 different kinds, and I think Jeff Burrish, who we had on the other night from Virginia, told me about another one, and actually had a demo with these people. It was cost prohibitive for our company at the time, but I can see the value in them. But it's still just an assessment on what your makeup is. But what's most important for us in this is, like, for instance, we were looking for a dispatcher, like he mentioned, and Nicole, her husband, works for us, and she came in and we gave her the assessment. And when she walked out, I was like, I'm not so sure. Like, she's kind of quiet. I said, well, hold on, let's read the disc. And we came out in the disc that she's very detail oriented. She's very caring, which is 2 things a dispatcher needs to be, right? And so, and there was several other things, but then we circled back and I said, okay, we've had this thing where we bring dispatchers in, we give them a big old stack of SOPs and say, SOPs is, what's the thing?
Standard operating procedures.
Yeah, that thing. And, it's like, read this book, and then when we see you in 6 months, you should be able to do your job, right? And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. Let's try something different. And so with her, that stood out in her disc massively was she needs to understand the why, otherwise she's not going to do it. And it's not.
Why are you doing it?
That's right. And she's not a rebel or anything like that. She just needs to understand the why. Now, once you tell her the why, she gets it and she goes with it, right? And so I had a meeting with Al and with Ms. Kim, our dispatch manager, and I said, hey, this is how Nicole's going to learn. And she was fully taking calls and booking them within a week.
Yeah, it's a week.
Yep, it was insane. And so that's when we now started. So I mentioned we've hired several more. We and we'll get to this a little bit later in the discussion, but we brought another guy in that is currently going through trade school, and we hired him based solely on his disc, not what he knew technically. And it was so interesting. We hired him on culture and on the disc, and within the third day, he was in the parking lot washing his van. And one of the owners showed up, and Brian walked past him and asked him a couple questions, and this guy just knocked it out of the park. And he walked in, he goes, "Man, that's a great hire out there. He's a great kid." And I was like, "He's awesome."
They can try.
Yep. And so immediately you're starting to see this thing, because here's the thing, Will, we can teach anybody in this industry how to do heat and air. That's not what, for years, that was the barometer. It shouldn't be. I mean, it really shouldn't be. We should find good people,
Yeah, core people at the heart. And, we're not hiring technicians, but we're trying to hire good people in our business. And I'll just give you a quick example. Jen that works with us, she's an account manager for us, and she's been with us for a year and 3 months, something like that. She's doing great.
Yeah.
We hired her solely on personality.
Right.
And she's learned a lot. She had to learn marketing, and she had to learn HVAC on top of that. And she's come a long ways, but it was solely hired on. We just got that feeling from her.
Yeah.
When we interviewed, we were on a call like this. We were doing a Zoom, and it turned out great. We've been very lucky with our people. And we've hired them a lot on I hate to say it, on gut feel, but just how the rapport with us and what they, we met them, like, wow, this, they seem like they're going to fit in. So
listen, man, don't discount gut feel. There's been several people, especially when we were interviewing for Al's position. And by the way, this is also a tech tip or an owner tip. Don't be afraid to interview somebody more than once. If you find a technician and you like him, let someone else on your staff interview them. So we did that. Al, you had 3 interviews with us, right?
Yep.
It was first I sussed you out. Mm-hmm. You scared the hell out of me.
Well, hang on, back up. First you called me, and I almost talked myself out of this job.
You did.
In the first phone call. I almost shot myself in the absolute foot. This guy calls me, and I'm like, just, struck by his accent, and I'm like, hang on, where is this guy from? Like, I'm curious now. And he's like, hey, I saw your resume, and I said, hang on. I said, I don't want to waste your time. To me, and just from my history, so I'm from the apartments, and I've been a project manager, mainly apartments. So my knowledge base from the HVAC side of it is those were the vendors that I was hiring to work on my units at my properties and stuff. So, like, I know the knowledge base is vast. I mean, there's no end. But I don't have that. I still don't have that. And so in my, messed up judgment over here in my head, I'm like, I'm going to waste this guy's time. I'm not what they're looking for. And that's what I told him. I said, I don't have the technical that I think you're looking for. And he was like, we're looking for a leader of men. And I was like, I'm your guy. Sign me up. And here we are. It was wild.
You can teach the technical, Al.
Yeah.
You can teach that of it.
I scream that to people. If I could scream it from the rooftops, I would. I've been told that my entire career, that, Al, you're teachable. You like to learn. You want to grow your knowledge base, but we can't teach everybody else to care like you care. And I'm like, trust me, guys, if I could turn it off sometimes, I wish I could.
This is true.
But, I'm grateful for the attributes that I was given, and I'm just thankful to put them to use with Bohr Brothers.
Well, but the thing was, what I saw. What I saw in the resume was management at an early age, and a lot of it, right? And so Al didn't job hub or hop, I should say, but I saw the management, and now I just wanted to sit down and talk to him. At that point, I was talking to, I think he was number 26 or something, and I just really wanted to have lunch with him and see. And I interviewed you, and then we brought Jeff in, one of the owners, and Jeff really liked you, and then we had you interview with the entire leadership team. And the reason we did that was he had to work with them, right? And then right after that interview, we offered you the job. But I had to interview for my job twice, and so it's like, don't be afraid to do that. Like, if it's really going to be a right fit, it'll work out, and it's meant to be,
We also did an interview recently for, we're looking for a dispatcher to kind of ramp us up for the summer and get going. And we brought a guy in, and JG was out of town, soaking up the Florida sun. and sending us pictures.
Yeah, I did do that.
Asshole. But so we interviewed this guy, and I mean, he knocked everything out of the park. But because of JG's absence, I asked for April, our accounts manager, to pop in, and then I also had Kim pop in to sit with me, and just, I was blown away at the questions that they asked, because they're coming from perspectives that I don't have, because I'm not doing their job. And so I wasn't really thinking about how my hiring of this dispatcher, how it's going to affect accounting. And so when April was in there, she was asking them questions, hey, do you understand business types and GL codes and, all this stuff? And I'm like, we're hiring him for dispatching, right? And she's like, hey, but if he know, and he knew all these things, and she was like, I think he's going to be a great fit. He already has, what we're looking for. And I'm like, I wouldn't have even asked that. It wasn't even anywhere near me,
But the one other piece is, I also want people to feel like when they interview with us and we bring them back for the second interview or and so on, at the end of the day, I want to feel like they need to feel like they fought for the job, right? Because it's so easy in our industry. If you say heating and air, you're going to get the job. They just give it to you and like you're in the truck and then it works out or it doesn't. I want people to own the process of being hired by us, because we want it to be a long-term relationship. We're not interested in hiring somebody for 2 years. Now, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, right? But that's not the goal. And so, I think you can speak to this, because I learned that from Burish. It's like the team was built with a long-term vision in mind, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we just we're hiring someone right now, and I put out on LinkedIn yesterday, and it's amazing how many resumes in about 5 minutes. I think it's set up to where they know on something that meets their criteria, because they shut it down after like 53 applicants, and they want you to pay now, of course. Yeah. But no, it's when we hire, it's a lot to train someone. Just the same thing for you guys, and then get them, up to speed in the job. Because when you hire someone new, it puts a lot of it's very taxing to the existing employees. You're trying to train them on how you do things at Bower Brothers, like how we do things at Effective Media Solutions, and it's so much, and it's taking time. It's like your job, hours are going up because you're trying to train someone and get them up to speed. And the last thing you want to do is have someone come in and then they don't work out and they're gone in 6 months. And that's the same thing with us with clients. We want to make sure we got some. I look at it like, hey, we're going to start working with you. We're working with you from here to the end of time.
Yeah.
And the same with employees. I want this, hopefully, to be their career. And it's like, we're like a family, and I'm sure you guys are too. And you got to fit into the family. And of course, families fight, quarrel. It's ups and downs, but you got to get along. And like you said, core values and culture. We keep coming back to the culture.
That's right.
It's just intertwined with everything in life, especially in business too. And again, we just were. It's tough to when you bring someone in. We're a team of 14 people. You're what, 80? You said.
Yeah.
So it's a small company compared to Bank of America,
of course,
or large corporations. So you really got to look at it long and hard, and like you said, more than one interview I think is definitely you want to get the full picture and have multiple people meet and interact with this potential new hire. And it's just a process, and you don't always get it right too. And I think you can't beat yourself up about that. Either.
No, you're right.
You got to go, hey, get everyone right every time.
But
do your best.
I will tell you that the one thing I do with everybody that sits in an interview is, and this is, I'm going to come full circle to the gut thing. The minute that anybody in the room sees any flag or something doesn't sit right, we stop. Because it's happened now that 3 of us were blown away by a guy. 4th one had some apprehension, didn't want to say anything because the crowd was excited, and it didn't work out. Right? And so it's like there's a reason your radar is up, and so we do that now very well. And I will debrief whoever is in the interview, and I would just say, hey, any flags, any gut, anything, right? And we really focus in on making sure that nobody saw it coming, because then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's not a I told you so, or hey, I really didn't like the guy from the beginning, or the girl. It's just it didn't work out, right? So I think that's a big thing. We learned 2 lessons there. The other lesson we learned was you do not send the disc profile home to be taken.
Yeah, you told me that.
Because we were really trying to figure out how to manage this thing properly, and we couldn't because the employee didn't take the disc profile himself.
Yep.
Someone else took it. So, there is there is that. But
we are still actively recruiting for the person that took it. Just kidding.
So, anyway, but something I want to transition into a little bit, which is what a lot of people in this industry are struggling with, and actually I'm not getting concerned. I wonder, because to me, when a door closes, a window opens. We have had to let 2 technicians go now, 2 or 3. 2. Just various reasons, but it wasn't working out, wasn't the right fit. And we really are looking for 2 experienced technicians. Mm-hmm. I can't find them. Now,
like a unicorn.
Yeah, and we're interviewing several, but I can't find anybody that I feel like will fit the culture. Now, we might be too picky, so I do want to maybe address that could be part of it. But we have this long-term play that we're currently doing. We have, I think right now we're up to 6 young people that are in the community college for heating and air. So we interview them. If we really like them and we find out that we think they're moldable, we bring them in. Mm-hmm. We provide them with a company truck, company uniform, everything else, and we pay their tuition. Because believe it or not, the tuition is not that much, right? It's an investment. They go to school in the morning, and in the afternoon they're running maintenances for us. And what we're doing is we're creating these long-term employees because we help them get started, and we're a living wage company, so they make more than minimum wage. We bring them in, and they start building. And then when they graduate, we start graduating them into doing more parts change-outs, and then we start integrating them into our technician group. And actually, we have several of our senior technicians, and actually our field service manager, I believe, came through that route, right? Yep. And so we have a great relationship with Alamance, but it's a long-term play, right? It's not going to help me this summer with the volume I got coming,
But you got to get them into that, into that line of, all right, we're going to start them as a level 1 maintenance technician. They go to a level 2, and they're starting to do some small repairs and things. And the community colleges, it was Alamance, Guilford, I think Forsyth, because another one of our customers up in Greensboro, Will Berry, he's been a part of that. Yeah. And it's like a real, almost like a contract type of thing, to where they're going to school, and then you both get them out after 6 months or a year or something.
Yes, so they can get a diploma for heating and air after a year, but then we have several that is actually getting a degree, right? So they are doing some other classes too, and we work with our class schedule because it's important for us. It's important for us to set them up. And Will, to be honest, if they graduate and they don't work for me, but they've bettered themselves and we can be a part of that, I'm okay with that. Right?
Well, we're all trying to better the industry.
Yeah,
JG, we are, because it's a great industry, and you've heard me say it before. I hate to say it, the bar's low, and that's sad. But I think a bigger picture of this thing, the industry, and it's probably been 20 years plus ago. It wasn't just the HVAC industry; it was looked at as a business now.
Yes,
you're looking at let's treat heating. It's not the old school days of heat and air conditioning. It's actually a business,
right? And
treat with business principles. Looking at financials. Like you were saying, Al, looking at the general ledger, looking at KPIs. Looking at we got to make money here, and that means usually that's got to raise prices, but it's got to be done that way because you're a business. You're not a charity group. You're not a 501c charity organization, which I think some people treat it like that in this business. But everybody has to make money, and it's an expensive business to run, and it's expensive for the consumer too. But we're valued.
Well,
that's the way it has to be done. It has to be run like a business. You have to be profitable, and I think like many businesses, you start very green and fresh and train us like I got in the industry.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this industry. I started as a trainee at Ferguson. I learned how to run a forklift. I learned how to ship UPS. I learned about parts. I learned about warranty. You know, before I knew it, I knew way more than I thought I knew. But I think that's something said about bringing people up through the ranks and then learning a lot of aspects of the business.
Yeah, you know, and
you build.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out here because I'm going to invite her to be on our podcast soon, because she's going to blow you away. Her name is LaDonna Johnson, and she works. I'm not sure about her title at Airmakers, but she's either operations or general manager or in that realm. She's helping to run the company there, but she's done an insane amount for youth in our industry. And
Nice.
she has done a lot, and so I'm gonna get her on to come talk about it, because I think there's some incentive there to have her on and listen to the things that she's been able to do, because it's good for all and hopefully we get to a point with this podcast where people listen to us coast to coast. Mr. Geertz, where's he? Midwest. You know, it's like this, they can do that in their community. They can start doing these things if they're not already in their community, and we can really start influencing this this industry. Because I have a belief. I think this thing of kids having to go to college is slowing down. I see it in our hometown. I see so many people. I have a girl play rugby for me. She has opportunity to go to, you know, she has opportunity to go to college. She wants to be an electrician, and it's great. And I'm encouraging it. You know, it's like. But I think there's a tide, there's a turn coming, and I know how this dovetails into the hiring pieces, because if we don't pay attention to it and we don't start bringing them in young and teaching them our values and our ways, we're going to have issues. So today in the class, they're talking about how many people were so negative about these are the issues, you know, the profitability issues, and these technicians leave tools on the place, and so when everybody was done complaining, I said, well, how do you hire? Do you hire people that doesn't care and going to leave you tools on the job site, or are you looking for people that buy in, right? And they understand the mission and the vision, and they're going to be part of it, because they're not going to leave tools on it. They're going to make sure everything's buttoned up and looking good. So to me, hiring correctly is the fundamental base of building a company, because the culture, everything comes from that hiring piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to culture again.
Yes.
I think people they look down on this industry, and I get it. You know, you see a lot of people in this industry, and you go like, wow.
Yeah.
You see the van that's got 19 McDonald's Hardee's wrappers and papers all up on the dash and stuff, versus you see a nice looking truck, you know, that's clean.
Yeah.
You know, so they take pride in what they do, and again, we're a business that we're always going to be needed.
Right.
Always.
That's right.
Never, this industry has tried over the decades to make equipment where, a consumer can do it. Doesn't work.
No.
It takes skill. Maybe someday, but I don't think in our lifetime.
How many calls do we get on a weekly, bi-weekly
I bought a
basis?
mini split online.
Hey, I bought a mini split. Can you come put it in, or I put it in and I can't get a charge? Or
I put this mini split in, my son put this mini split in his tree house that's bigger than my own house I live in, my actual house.
Yep, this happened.
And this lady's like, she doesn't want to pay that. She doesn't want to pay, the actual service fee. And I'm like, we didn't install it. It's not a warranty. We didn't install it. Like your kid installed this on the weekend, and it was all jacked up. It was awesome.
So we're valuable, dude. We are superheroes. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah, and we should be. This industry should be treated like that.
Of course,
we talk about that a lot, with our customers, and say, hey, about getting reviews and stuff. You're a superhero. You just came to someone's home and it's 95 out. Speaking back to our buddy up in New Hampton, I have his weather data on my phone. I was looking at weather this afternoon. It was -7 this afternoon. So I didn't look at wind. So you think about a hero.
Yes.
Your heat goes out in that part of the country. You're literally a hero.
You think he's running PMs today?
Be treated like that.
You think he's running any PMs today? Probably not.
No.
He's not checking.
I'm sure. I will be seeing him a week from tomorrow in Florida, which again we're teasing it out. He may be our guest next Wednesday, so I'm sure he's getting in Wednesday afternoon. So
good. Well, sorry for the phone ringing. No, that wasn't somebody calling in.
That's
the show. So
I did hear it.
No, absolutely. So, anything else we want to touch on as far as hiring or industry standards on stuff? I guess a question would be, and I hope that we get to a point with this podcast where people actually start commenting and leaving us some advice or, what they do. But I would ask if you're subscribed, please subscribe. But put in the comments, where do you find technicians? So currently we're using Indeed. It's here or there, it's here or miss.
And chasing down your competitors' vans is not an option.
Yeah, we're not allowing.
Yeah, I think it's I can tell you in our business, we're related, but we're in the marketing side. We've never had much luck with the hiring things. We've used Indeed. Seemed like ZipRecruiter.
Yeah,
I think we did. Yeah, I think Steve Katra, who's been with us like 7-8 years now. I think we got him from ZipRecruiter, but we've been lucky through LinkedIn. But I think, I don't know what the silver bullet is, but I do think you got to bring in people, like we said, that are that meet the intangibles, that fit that mold, that maybe they don't know. And I know you can't just bring everybody in green off the street and train them like you want. Yeah, but I think that's where, the industry is going and has been going. But of course, a small companies, that's hard for them to do. But I do think I see more and more of that. You bring them in, you train them from the ground up and teach them, how you want, how your business runs and the values of your business. And, that's how you do it. But,
well, I haven't told Al yet, so you're going to hear for the first time. But one thing I am looking into very heavily, and with the help of Jason Wilson, that works for us, is the veteran technicians, the guys that's in military service and is now retiring and getting into the trades. I am very interested in that, man, because we have a couple of vets that work for us.
Yeah, Mark is our right hand.
Yeah, great guy.
I think coming from the armed forces, they've learned discipline, they've got work ethic, and they understand hard work. So that's, I guess, a little bit of a tease for an upcoming couple of guests we're going to have. And if I can, they said they've agreed to do it. We just got to schedule a time, but it's Crystal Hyman. She's with Train, and she runs a program. I don't know if it's Trade Warriors on her side, but I know Anthony Maynor, who's out of Raleigh, he teaches down at Fort Bragg, and it is Fort Bragg again.
Yeah.
But it's called Trade Warriors, and I see it all the time. They take men and women as soon as they're discharged from the armed forces. I guess mainly it's Army, but they train them to become HVAC technicians. I can't remember. I spoke to Anthony about a 6-month program, 9-month. But what they do is they try to place them with wherever they're from in the U.S. They go look at train dealers first. I think American Standard dealers second. And then they told me if they couldn't find someone, a company that met that criteria, they'd go to another brand. But it seems a great program. So I'm really excited to hear more about it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a great thing they're doing. I see their stuff all the time. I always like it. We'll comment on it sometimes on social media, but I think it's a great program.
Yeah, that's the program that I'm looking into. It's through Train. And so wouldn't it be great if I can find my superstar technician there and we can have him on the podcast with them and we can get the story from all sides, right? Because I am hugely intrigued with that. Our service members, they do so much for us. And if I can hire them and help them with a future in heating and air and in a great company that is Bohr Brothers, I'm going to be all over that. Absolutely. So we're gonna plug into that as soon as I get back to the office on Thursday. I just found out about it last week. So
they talk about that today in your class?
No, they didn't. Actually, Jason Wilson brought it to me late last week. No, I'm sorry, not late. It was early this week because I was on vacation last week. So I just found out about it, and I didn't have time to dig in. But I'm going to make time. To me, this is a priority, and if I can get 2 guys in before the summer, I think it's going to be really, really good.
I tell you, a good idea just came to my head is we go down there and we broadcast for Fort Bragg.
Oh,
there you go.
That would be great. That would be fun.
I mean, we can do beer can cold on that day, though. It's gonna.
They drink on base.
They drink. Hey, I played rugby on that base against the Marines, and I'm gonna tell you what, I drank a lot of beer after that because the pain was insane. Yeah, those guys are brick walls.
I'll tell you what I will do though. I will reach out to them. I think it's a little bit of a gamble what we're doing next week, where I'm traveling, but it sounds like we've got a guest or a couple potential people next week. But maybe I'll see if the following week
Yeah, and I'll put in some vacation time. I'll go down there with you because I would love, and wouldn't it be cool if we can actually shoot kind of what they're doing. I have some camera equipment laying around, so get a whole little video put together. That'd be a great.
This is all you need these days. I hate to say it. I mean, I've got it's not a video camera; it's a $high camera right here, and we used to use it for website pictures and things. And honestly, the quality of the phone cameras today is phenomenal. Yeah, and the video quality.
Yep. So. Well, buddy, I didn't know how today's going to go. I know we were going to shoot from the hip, but I feel
we almost did.
Yeah, we almost did.
I told JG at about 3 o'clock today. I'd run a couple errands, and I said, let's just punt because I'm not going to get into it, but it was a crazy day. My whole morning got wrapped up into something I had no idea I was going to get wrapped up into, but we're right at the finish line, so I'm super excited that what happened. But that was my morning, and I was just like, no, I don't have. But when I got home, and I said, you know what? I told my son, I said, Jackson, I said, let's hurry up and work out. And I said, I'm going to do this podcast at 5. So I texted you. I said, nope, let's do it.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad we did. This was a good one.
I enjoy it. I think we both do, and thanks, Al, for
thanks for having me.
It's always always the different mind, perspective, and insight. It's great.
So you tell me I get to sit around with a mic and drink beer and talk. Two of my favorite things. Like
I can't wait. I mean, it's pretty nice out today. When I was out earlier, it gets nice. So I'm going to move out to the outside. It might be a cigar.
That's another thing I do that my wife's not super happy about. So it's good. Like I can't wait till we actually sit in the same patio and do this. That's going to be a fun one, right? So
yeah, but I think just getting out and on location, potentially next week in Orlando. I'll go ahead and plug real quick the SBE. If you're not familiar with them, that's Service Business Excellence.
Yes,
and great coaching consulting company. They do great things for contractors.
I agree.
From A to Z, from leadership training to CSR, technician training, soft skills, all the stuff needed.
Kelsey is one that we need to call out of the blue one day. I bet you she'll answer.
Maybe. I'll see her next week. I have not bothered her. I know they're trying to get ready for next week. I had one of our we had these backpacks that we had sent there last year. Instead of giving somebody a plastic bag like for your swag type of stuff, we have these little backpacks, and they're actually pretty cool, Al. And so I had them shipped down there along with some of our hot sauce, and it was only supposed to show up, I think, next Sunday. Yeah, Sunday or Monday. And my rep, first thing this morning, one of the first emails I see was like, "Will, I'm sorry, your backpack shipped and they're showing up Friday." And I was like, I said, "Well, I'll ship them back to you." I kind of threatened her a little bit. And,
right.
So she's like, "How about you if I call the hotel?" So she called the hotel for me.
That's awesome. Well done.
They said they hold it next week.
I missed the trade shows. They were fun. I missed ACA, not ACA, ACR in Orlando by a day. We went down on Wednesday for Reagan stuff, which, by the way, she played out of her mind. It was a great week. But
nice.
We went down on Wednesday. Wednesday was the last day. If I had known, I would have gone down on Tuesday and spent Wednesday there because AHR is just amazing. That's a big one. So, but I'm going to make a trade show with you this year. We're going to do it. We're going to have a lot of fun. But for everybody at home, if you really want to help us out, please like and subscribe. I think the two that we really are pushing at the moment is YouTube and LinkedIn. Those two is very important for us. We're trying to get to 150 friends on LinkedIn so that we can live stream this on LinkedIn. But for right now, I found a way to stream to both our pages individually. So, and we'll just link it back. But if you could. Like and subscribe. That would be awesome. And Al, thanks again for hanging out with us. It was great. And we're going to now go downstairs to the bar and have a couple more beer can cold moments.
I thought you had homework. Did I hear that?
Yeah, later.
Oh yeah, go have some drinks and then do homework. That makes a lot of sense.
That's right. We're going to let's take our books with us. Okay, no, it won't happen. All right. Well, thanks again, buddy. Hey, listen, I know you have some stuff coming up, and tell Jim we're thinking of him and his family. I'm sorry.
Dave.
Dave. I'm sorry, I said Jim. Why did I call him Jim? Tell Dave we're thinking about him and his family, and safe travels for everybody. And then we will be back. See you. You're going to be on the road next Wednesday, so we'll figure out filming time and stuff. I'll be flexible, and we'll hook up, and it's going to be a fun time.
We get to Florida about 2:30, 3 o'clock, so we probably can do
regular time.
5 o'clock, so probably from the hotel bar.
Awesome. Sounds good to me. Cheers, pal.
All right.
Have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
All right,
Pleasure.
cheers.
Good to see you, Will.
Study hard tonight.
Word.